Is it love? Is it love? Baby, be mine. Is it love? Is it complicated? Be mine. Is it love? Is it love? Baby, be mine. Is it love? Is it complicated? Be mine.
Hi, my name is Washy Mtambo. I'm popularly known as Pastor Washy.
And my name is Natasha Mtambo.
How we met? I think you have the story because you saw me before I saw you. Yes.
Okay. So I met my husband for the first time. That was 9 years ago. I think, yeah. I was still a teenager. Yeah. I was still a teenager and he was too. So the first time was at his church. I went to my auntie's place for a sleepover, and then the following day we had to go to church. So when I went to Redemption Christian Center on that particular Sunday, he was the one preaching. I was like, oh, okay, fine guy right there. So yeah, I saw him there, and then after going back home, I never saw him again. Then that was like 3 or 4 years later.
Not
I
5.
got to, was it 5?
Okay, years later.
Yeah, years later.
Yeah.
I met him through a friend of mine. We used to stay together. So a certain friend of mine told me to say they were looking for someone to sing on his single. That was Takwaba. That was around 2019. So I refused. I was so skeptical. I'm like, I don't even sing soprano. Why are you gonna look for me? So I refused, and then she continued pleading. And I was like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, so basically
right?
I wanted somebody that would sing soprano, and so I told one of the girls, her name is Tash.
Yeah.
So I told her I want somebody that can sing soprano, and then she said, I have a friend, her name is Natasha. Next day, I think I changed my mind because I'm very particular. I want somebody that can really sing. So changed my mind. So I called her. I said, hey, tell your friend I'm sorry she can't come. I don't know her. I don't think she can really sing and stuff. So she said, no, I've already told her to come, and she really persisted that we allow her come. So she came to the studio, and I'm sorry. I think when she came, I wasn't amazed. I didn't go like, wow, the chick. And then for me, hi, how you doing? What's your name? And she said her name, but you're okay. You were looking okay. But you were just not breathtaking. Yeah, so that's how we met. I think we recorded the song, and yeah, basically, I think that's how we met. Of course, you thought I was a handsome, anointed man of God the first time. Yes.
Yeah, the first time.
Well, so she stayed in the band for quite some time, I think a year. And when she came, I really thought she was, her personality. The first thing when you meet my wife is you will know she's a very beautiful person, not only this beauty, but her heart, her personality, her humility. And so I was telling a friend in the band, I'm like, hey, Kagelo boy, talk to her. I think the both of you suit. His name is Blessings. Yeah. Till later, after, I fell for her personality, and the things I felt I needed in a woman was everything she was. And then it just clicked to me like, there's been a beautiful woman here. What are you looking for? So that's how it came to me. So I really don't think it was love at first sight for me. I think it was love after insight. I looked into her, and now I realize that you're more beautiful in your heart 1 billion times than you are on your face, and your face is like, you know what I mean. So yeah, I think that's how we came to think she's the one. Yeah. Well, the story is a little. How did I ask her out? The story is a little long, but let me cut it short. So, I've always wanted to do things differently. So,
that's the word.
A little. So when I thought I asked her out, luckily around that time there was a conference in Zimbabwe. A singles conference in Zimbabwe. And so I thought, let me make a camera move. I'm like, have you been out of the country? It's like, no, I haven't. So got a passport. We went with a whole team to Zimbabwe. And after that, I said, let me ask her out in another country. Now, the fear, I didn't have that, the words and the courage. So came back here, and I think it was maybe 3 or 4 days after we came back. That I just felt, you know what, let me not write poems here. I think let me just get straight to the point. It wasn't anything very nice. I just thought that, you know what, I love you, and I think I'm gonna marry you very soon. And she said yes, and she cried.
I cried.
And that's how it happened.
About the engagement, honestly speaking, I wasn't expecting it. First of all, he engaged me the same day he asked me out to be his girlfriend. So for me, I obviously had it in mind to say he was gonna go a little bit extra. And so I remember having an exam that day, and he told me, cancel whatever you have. Okay, you can write a deferred exam or something. And luckily, the exam was cancelled that day. So I went home, I prepared myself, and then he told me to follow him to a certain place. And it was breathtaking. I went to that place, my outfit and everything else was ready. And then he sent a driver to take me to that place.
Which place is that? You're saying that place?
The Kafue River. The scenery was very beautiful. It's everything I ever dreamt of, and I think that's the best thing that has ever happened to me in my life.
That
yes, that thing.
There or something?
Of course it is, but then for me, the fact that I wasn't expecting it, the surprise and everything else, it was just so beautiful. The sunset, the flowers. I'm such a girly girl, so I love flowers. So everything was beautiful, and I cried a little. I cried
a lot. A lot, actually.
It was more emotional.
Well, I am, but I know how to get you crying and stuff like that.
So that was it about the proposal.
So how I knew her ring size, she has a friend, a very good friend of ours. Her name is Deborah. So Deborah loves to wear fashion rings. So one of the days I told Deborah, can you go and buy your fashion rings? But while you're buying yours, go with her and tell her you want to buy fashion rings for her. So they went together, and she says, I want to buy you rings. And she bought the rings, and from there, she bought the very exact rings she bought for her and got an extra pair, right?
The one that was fitting this side.
So brought it to me, and then we went, and that's how we knew her size. But I mean, it was teamwork. I had a lot of people on my side, her elder sister Toela and her friends, so it was easy to get certain things done.
Okay, did I receive any opposition from family, friends? I would say it was a little rough at the beginning. Where it was my first time dating a man of God, and then I remember telling one of my aunties, I'm like, I'm seeing this man of God. They're like, these pastors, are you sure? Do you really know this man? The papas of this world. So my family was a little skeptical about it, but when they met him, they're the ones who were even saying, you've just found the right man. We were able to tell.
I'm humbled,
just
ma.
by
Thank you, ma.
just by looking at how responsible he is, and he's just a family person. They just blended in so well, irregardless of the questions they had about me dating a man of God. Yeah.
How they received her on my side, I think it was very easy because I really don't want to go into my past, but when she came and when I told, firstly, you were friends with my twin brother before we were friends. So my twin brother told me, dude, if there's a girl you can marry, you a pastor, if there's a my busa in this world, is that girl. And the times he would tell me that, I'll be like, hey bro, she's way younger than me, man, so I'm not doing that. But later my sister, you became friends with my sister before we, my young sister Wamaka. So all of them were just telling me, hey, she's such an adorable person. The time she came to church, actually, a very quick story, the one that is chief usher at my dad's church actually told me, I had a dream about the woman that you're going to marry. The day she's going to come to church, I will know her. When she came, actually described you, told me what tribe you are. When she came, the woman was excited. She's the one. And so it was easy. My mother loved her. I think you and my mother started talking even before we got married. So it was so easy. She's so easy to love. So everybody just easily loved her like that. Yeah.
And just to add on, when that woman described me, we're not really talking.
No, we're not even.
We're not talking. For me, he was mentoring me, so I was always just saying, "Hey, pastor," just like that. So when, of course, I'm so glad that you told me later to say this is what.
Of course, I wasn't going to say, "Thus saith the Lord, you be my wife."
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do that.
So it was just a sign. It was another sign for us. How easy was it to find the dress? I think it was very easy for me. That's one of the things that I found so easy. The way things were just aligning themselves, I can't explain. I think I found my first dress, that was in January, and I got, our wedding was in May, and then I got engaged in December. The second dress, I found it in the third month after the engagement. So it was so easy. I really didn't have a lot of stress. Yeah. He cried.
You didn't have to say that.
You cried.
I was going to say. Anyway, you see, the emotions. So I was singing a song as she was coming by Pastor Daniel Akoa Kaleisa. And you know, when you're singing, for singers they will understand, there is a chima something that comes on your neck, you know. So while I'm singing, I'm trying to hold the notes together. I saw this beautiful woman. I don't know what a wedding is like, what it is about it, because you've been seeing this person, but now you know. By the time she reaches here, she's going to be my wife. It was beautiful. One of the most beautiful, nostalgic things that, you know, are stuck on my heart and my mind. You were so beautiful. You are still beautiful, but that day, you know, it was so beautiful. Yeah, I remember crying, and I told my mother, warned me, don't cry, because I'm very emotional. Don't cry, just go and marry the girl. There's no reason to cry. But you know, when it happened, I forgot. Mama, I'm sorry. I forgot everything Mama said.
Everything.
And my relatives. Yeah, it was so beautiful.
Was I nervous as I was walking down the aisle? I was so nervous. And I was wearing heels. I'm like, I just don't want to fall right now. But then having the thought of, you know, walking down to the aisle, walking down to the love of my life, rather, that was the most beautiful feeling ever. I looked forward to spending my whole life with this one person that I've ever prayed for. So as I started walking, I was extremely nervous, and then my dad just whispered, "You've got this." And then we walked. It was so beautiful. I cried as well. Such an emotional couple. Yeah. We've been married for 9 months now.
Yeah, 9 months. 9 beautiful months.
9 beautiful months.
What has kept our love alive? I think firstly is getting to choose to love this person every day. One thing that is amazing about marriage is you will think you know the person very well.
Yeah.
But after the few weeks of honeymoon, you begin to discover that I actually don't know this beautiful person very well. Actually, this beautiful person can get angry and she can be really upset. And we can actually disagree, and then you are not going to go to another house. You will have to resolve everything, you know. So I think firstly is the fact that we have to choose each other every day. And I think secondly is the fact that we have to ensure that we talk about whatever it is that, you know, may be an issue. And thirdly, to separate the person from the problem. Because the problem will happen, but the person is not the problem. So to address the problem and not attack the person. So I think also we have always reminded each other that we should do the things that we did that got us to love each other and continue doing them as we are married. A difficult one to do, especially for me. It's been quite difficult because now she's
Confess.
so you have to do the dates, you have to do the surprises, and sometimes you get, you know, worked up with just trying to do home and do husband and ministry and all of these other things. But if it should survive, we have to continue doing the very things that we did that got us together.
What do I appreciate about my husband? Everything. But one thing I sincerely appreciate, I think you really give me a challenge, babe.
Okay.
A serious challenge.
Okay.
Your heart for people, your heart for ministry, the way you love me, the way he just takes care of me, the way he provides for me and my home, it's just top notch. Thank you. I really appreciate you.
No, I'm not crying.
No, you're not.
What do I appreciate about my wife? I think firstly is the fact that she loves God, and that makes everything easy for me. The fact that she loves God deeply, and secondly the fact that she I don't know how to well put this, but the fact that she respects me and what I do and what I believe in, I really think that is what encourages me every day. The fact that sometimes I think she believes in this ministry, in the music and in everything that I do, sometimes a bit more than I do. So that for me is something. What do I love about you? Oh, my wife can cook, man. She can cook. Okay, I really mean proper cooking. And I mean the evidence.
Extra.
You know, there's so many things I appreciate about her. But I think of all things, she loves God, she loves the ministry, she loves people, she loves me, she respects me, and I really appreciate that about you, babe.
Thank you, babe. How do I sit with him being in the limelight? Whew. It was so much at the beginning, more especially the dating days, but I thank God I decided to make peace with it. And then the funny thing is I love being in the background and he's this Limelight guy. I'm like, oh, okay, how do you deal with it? So the first thing that I did is that I accepted who he was. I understood who he was, and then I just decided to make peace with it. Trust me, now I think we go home. Let me say a program ends at 17. I'm okay with us going at 21. Of course, we need to control that, but I think it's not something that I would get upset over, because I have clearly understood that's who he is. Yeah.
What are the words I love to hear from you? From her, hey Hanchami. She says that almost every morning. Hey Hanchami. I love that. But I think also what I really love to hear from her is how sometimes I'll come from church and preach, and the Lord does his work, miracles happen, and everybody is saying, Pastor, that was great. And then you go home, and then she says, man of God, I'll never get used to this grace. Now that breaks me. That is like, hands down, game over, I'm done. So I think that, and to a degree, one of my love languages is words of affirmation, which is also one of our strong love language. So we say a lot of words to each other, a lot of affirming words. So I think that, but the Hanchami part is like
What I love to hear from him is, even at my lowest days, and then he'll just walk up to me and say, baby, you're the best at what you do. And I'm like, oh, that just melts me down. Sometimes when I'm a makeup artist. There's some days that I just feel like, my work is just not up to, there where I want to be. And then he'll just walk up to me, sometimes randomly. He'll just tell me how much he believes in me. And that really builds my esteem. It just...
You want to cry?
No, I'm not gonna cry. Chikongo. Well, I might just cry, but no, we're not doing that today. Yeah, so it's just how he believes in me, and then he just doesn't believe in me. He says it to me to say, you're going far, I love what you do, you're the best at what you do. That builds me and it breaks me. I'm like, oh my God. I got myself a trophy. Yeah.
My word of advice to, firstly, the singles and those that are still searching, I think number one, you need to know yourself, understand who you are, because bringing somebody into your life, if you haven't understood who you are, you might actually bring somebody that is not compatible with you. The Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. But I think before you find a wife or you find a husband, you should find yourself. Only then can you find the correct partner. And secondly, I think you need to prepare yourself. And by this I mean, it shouldn't be about what are you going to get from the person. It should be, what am I going to give? What type of person I am? So have I dealt with my temper? Have I dealt with the fact that I'm not generous and all of that? It should be what you bring to the table. And to those that are married, young and married, I think the biggest thing for us has been the fact that we have mentors, people that we look up to, that have been married and they've been in this terrain, this turf, and they've conquered. We sit under people that will speak words of wisdom. I really think if you're going to do marriage alone and you just think premarital counseling is enough. It's not enough, because the day you go into marriage, first month, you face certain things that were not in the book, the premarital counseling book, So I think it's important to have mentors, to have people that you look up to. And then secondly, I think it's important to pray together. It has helped us because sometimes even when we feel we maybe on that day we are not at our best, after we get to pray, we get to connect even the more. So I think those have helped us, and they will help you.
It's like when you get to pray together, it's like a burden has just been lifted off your shoulder, just automatically.
Right.
There's been a particular day that I was feeling some type of way, and then after praying together, I literally feel like something has just lifted me. There is so much power in praying together.
Absolutely, there is.
My advice to a single person that is tired of searching, maybe they have given up on themselves, they have given up on God, I would tell them there's so much beauty in the waiting. I remember my husband, who is my pastor, just last week Sunday, he preached a very powerful word, and one of the things he told us was, our God is a God of speed, but he's not a God in a rush. So sometimes we don't get to have things that we want, but God is seeing. He sees to say, maybe if I send this man to this lady, this woman, this man might be a hindrance. So what he does is that he delays us for a purpose. So he can still speed up the process by you getting married and having your children on time. But what you should understand is that you need to understand the process. There's beauty in the waiting. I know you get crushed. A lot of people are going to be calling you, hey, you haven't posted your Valentine's gift. We're waiting to see those gifts and stuff like that. I mean, the pressure is getting worse on the internet. But you just need to understand who you are. You need to focus on God. The more you seek God even over this relationship issue, that marriage issue, the more God is going to look down on you and see a reason to favor you because you have endured. You have this patience like no other. So there is beauty in the waiting. I waited and I don't regret it. There's a day called one day that the light is going to shine brighter and brighter.
You're preaching. Preach.
That's what I would say.
Yes. The two lessons I've learned, number one is that the Lord will use your partner to perfect you. And so sometimes the voice of the Lord will be in your partner's voice. I think one of the things I'm going to confess, my wife is 5 years younger than me. And so when we started dating, I said, she's young, what does she know? And then I had already done ministry and all of these things. But then I realized that many times when I have to make a decision, ministry decision, or anything, my wife has been that voice of God. And sometimes it will not come shaking and in KJV language, but then it will be the voice of God. And secondly, I've learned to be patient. And that is one thing you will actually learn when you get married. You will actually be very patient. I wasn't a very patient person, but then through our journey, I've realized that things will not run at your pace. You will not do things exactly as you think they will happen. And so I've learned to be patient and even to trust in the Lord the more. I think those are the two things I have learned.
One of the lessons I have learned throughout this journey of being in a relationship and being married to my husband, I'll repeat the last point he said, which is patience. I'll go back to what I started with. Like I said, I think I met him 9 years ago, and then by then I had a crush on him. Then 4 years, 5 years
Finally,
later,
you're confessing on camera. You refuse.
Yes. Like the first time I saw him, I liked him. So now, had it not been, maybe had I followed my feelings and pushed myself on him, I don't think would be here. I usually tell him to say, had I forced my way, if I wasn't patient enough to wait for God to deal with me, because what happened, there's so much that happened during those years that, we weren't together. I believe my character changed. I grew spiritually. There was so much development from the time I had a crush on him, like the middle space, yeah. Just during that time, there's so much that happened, and I'm really grateful to God that I endured through it. I learned to be patient and calm. Yeah, that's my lesson. Hi, my name is Tash.
My name is Washy. We are the Kingdom Couple, and this is how we met.